Hi guys, and welcome to this video with the project overview for the Grand Horizon at Plympton. The reason I'm doing this video is because you may have received this brochure and I wanted to unpack it a little bit more and run through some of the details and run through some of the numbers. Now, as you can see from the screen, the project at Plympton is called the Grand Horizon. It's actually assisted development of a project we recently did in Ashford, and I wanted to run you through some of the details of it. Now, as you can see from the map on here, Plympton is approximately halfway between Adelaide CBD and Glenelg Beach, so it's in a prime location. We find that this spot, or Plympton in particular, is a really good suburb for investment as well as for our owner occupiers market. It has been dubbed as one of the best investment spots in South Australia and in Adelaide, and there's obviously a lot of opportunities going on. Now, one of the major drivers for some of the growth has been the rezoning of Anzac Highway, which is now considered an urban corridor. What that means is the councils have allowed high density projects to be developed all along Anzac Highway. That means a lot of these older homes are now getting demolished and being replaced with either apartments or townhouse projects, allowing for more people to live in the same space. Now, with the project being on number 7 Glenburnie Terrace, it's easy access to Anzac Highway, but not necessarily on Anzac Highway. So there's the site right there. This will house 7 community title townhouses. It is around the corner from the Kurralta Park Shopping Centre. It's around the corner from a bus stop and walking distance to the train line, which runs along there, and just down the road from the Ashford Hospital, which is just up Anzac Highway as well, and close proximity to the city as well. So from a location point of view, it does tick a lot of the boxes for what we look for. As you know, with our strategy, we like to find high growth, high yield and tax effective properties. So in order to get a high growth property, you generally want to be within the close proximity of the CBD. You want to be within close proximity of major infrastructure and amenities such as schools, shops, hospitals, transport. So this definitely ticks the boxes for us in that aspect. Now, if I go through the brochure, you'll see these are architecturally designed in terms of the renders and the facades that is used. So they are 3-level townhouses. I'll run you through the floor plan in a moment, but just to give you a bit of an insight, location-wise, again, close proximity from the CBD, healthcare, universities, the shopping centres, trams, buses, etc. So it again satisfies all the needs for our owner occupiers as well as the investors. Now, for the investors, the house prices in Plympton have increased by over 24.74% capital growth in the last 5 years, and the yields in there are quite strong as well, so it's upwards of 4%. In fact, with this project, we are offering a 5% rent guarantee for these properties, because whilst a normal house would sell for about $570,000 in Plympton, an established house won't have the same rental return as a brand new property. So what we've been able to do is actually get the price on these properties down to $480,000, and the rental guarantee is at $470 per week. So once we run through the numbers, you'll see how all that filters down, but they are certainly good when it comes to the numbers. Now, just a little bit on the features of the property. They are 3-level townhouses. So they're 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms and a single garage under the main roof. They do have a courtyard at the back, and there are a couple of different floor plans and designs that we can work with. They are 2.7 meter high ceilings with 2.4 meter high doors. They're reverse cycle ducted air conditioning, LED downlights throughout, modern kitchen and bench tops, Euro stainless steel appliances, high quality fit outs all the way through. So they do satisfy those who are looking at living there. Now, in terms of the project overview, as I mentioned, $480,000 is the turnkey price. So that means it's completely finished and ready to move into. There is nothing more to pay. That includes everything. So landscaping, fencing, driveways, pathways, everything that you would need for the house to be able to live in. In fact, it even has things like your window furniture, which we have been able to negotiate a deal for our clients where you will get $11,000 worth of Holland blinds, custom Holland blinds, for the whole property. Now, this is for the first 4 sales. One has been sold already. There's 3 left. So obviously it's a first in best stress scenario. Now we will run through these details in more, in greater detail once we go through the forecast. But just as a high level overview, $470 rent per week. They are 1090 contracts, which means you only put a 10% deposit up front and then 90% balance on completion. They are eligible for the first homeowners grant because they're brand new properties. They're 6-star energy efficient. You get a 5-year structural warranty, 3-month practical completion or maintenance warranty. And these are estimated to be completed by January 2021 at the latest. So in terms of water rates, we're looking at about 155 a quarter. Council rates is 909 a quarter, and body corporate is $107 a quarter. So I'll run through those figures in the forecast. As mentioned with the investor special, we are doing a 2-year rent guarantee at 5%. This is if it's managed by Silvertail Property Management, and the first 4 sales will get the $11,000 Holland blinds, as well as the tax depreciation schedule, which will be paid for by the developer. Usually costs about $770. So, getting into the plan, as you can see, there's 7 dwellings. Number 1 is sold. However, numbers 2 to 7 are still available, and they will have a common driveway all the way through. In terms of the floor plans, I won't go through number 1 because that's now sold, but certainly number 2, 4, and 6. As you enter through the front, there is a panel lift door that can take you through the garage, which you can enter into the house or through the front door. There will be a linen cupboard to the side with stairs leading up and storage underneath the stairs. There will be a laundry almost under the stairs as well, so certainly in that provision there. And then you've got bedroom 3 at the back with its own bathroom, and then has the sliding doors which takes you out into a little self-contained courtyard. Now on the middle level, as you come up, you will have the open plan for your kitchen, dining and family. This is a big space, so that it does give the ability to be able to be flexible with how you set out your furniture and how you use the space. And best of all, there is a balcony as well, which is a decent size. It's a 5.2 by 2 meter balcony, certainly big enough to have a nice little outdoor lounge and a nice little retreat area. And then when you come up to the top level, you've got bedroom 1, which is a generous size bedroom. It's 3.4 meters by 5 meters. That also includes a walk-in robe behind the wall. And you'll see here there's a cavity door that leads into the ensuite, which makes it a ensuite for bedroom 1, but it's also got a main door through the corridor, which makes it a 2-way bathroom and accessible by bedroom 2. So it's a smart little design. Helps obviously on saving on costs of having another bathroom on the top level. So hence why we've been able to keep the pricing quite competitive. And bedroom 2 is also a generous size. It's a 3.1 by 5 meter bedroom. So you're definitely getting an ample amount of space in the bedrooms. Now, the other floor plans I won't run through, but more than happy to send this over if you guys would like to have a look in more detail. In terms of the selections and the colors, there is 2 color schemes that we're working with. There's a native warm color scheme and an urban cool color scheme. So slight variations, obviously, can be to personal taste. So that concludes the rundown of the brochure. Now, more importantly, what I want to do is actually go through the numbers. So I've prepared a little scenario previously, which I will run through. Now, the capital expenses for this property. So the purchase price is $480,000. and obviously market value at the year of purchase is 480. Now, if the value increases between the time you purchase and the time you settle, you still buy it for 480,000. In terms of the due diligence costs, we allow $350 for a building inspection. Even though it's a brand new property, we still want to know what the state of the property is like at the time of the build being completed, and also gives us a report to be able to give to the builder to fix any defects that may have come up throughout the building period. In terms of the settlement costs, we're working on a 10% deposit, being $48,000, and stamp duty calculated on the total settlement, which in this case comes to just under 24 grand. And our legal fees is for conveyancing costs. That's usually $500 to $800, but I've allowed $1,000 in there. The setup fees for the loan is $400, assuming that you went with a package with one of the major lenders that gives you the offsets and credit cards and all that. Now that cost can be zero, but I've just allowed that in there. And I've also allowed $4,000 for lender's mortgage insurance, which is the LMI cost. So if you're borrowing more than 80%, then you'll have to pay lender's mortgage insurance. If you're borrowing 80% or less, that is not applicable. So because we've got 10% deposit, we pay LMI. Improvement costs are not applicable because it is a brand new property, so there's no renovations or anything needed. The selling costs only take effect if you sell the property, and I've allowed 2% commission in there for an agent if you decided to sell. Now, when we jump into the property expenses, I'm just going to fix this up a little bit. Now, we're working on $470 rent per week, which is what we've guaranteed, and that's with a 2 weeks vacancy as well. So that gives us approximately $23,500 worth of rental income. In terms of property expenses, we've got $909 allowed in there per year for rates. We've allowed $800 a year for building insurance. Body corporate can be actually a little bit less, so let's work on $450 a year instead of $600. And there's no repairs or maintenance, cleaning, service contracts, or garden and lawn maintenance. We have allowed 1 week's reletting fee every year. So every time you relet the property, it's going to cost you 1 week's rent. Water supply charges are going to be $600 that we've allowed for, and property management is at 8%. So these are certainly what you would expect in terms of your ongoing expenses. Now, when it comes to the loan side of it, we've got different scenarios we can run. In this example, I'm using an interest-only example because a lot of our clients that work with us generally have their own home loan. And whilst you've got your own home loan, that's a non-tax deductible debt. So what we would generally advise is that any debts that you have on your home, you want to have principal and interest, and you want to pay those down as quick as possible. Whereas any debt that you've got against your investment properties is fully tax deductible. So you generally want to focus on paying down the other debts first. However, everyone has their own preferences. If you prefer to do a principal and interest, I can show you an example with that as well. And that will, it will affect the interest rate that you do get, because if you're on a high LVR with interest only, it's going to cost you more in interest than if you were on, say, an 80% LVR with principal and interest. So that can vary the costs. But again, it's a case by case. And for the sake of this example, I'm running on 90% LVR. But what I have done is I've allowed up to 4% interest rate. So as you know, interest rates are cheap as chips at the moment, cheapest they've ever been. I've seen investment interest rates in the low to mid threes. So we're certainly keeping a little bit of a buffer there, working on 4%. And then the last section is our tax and market factors. Now the first bit is the depreciation. The depreciation is all the fixtures and fittings that are brand new in the property that as they get used, they depreciate on paper. Now that paper depreciation is actually what's going to come off your taxable income. And I'll run through that in a little bit. The second part is the market factors. Now, first part is the CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index. That's assuming costs are going to go up by 3% every year. And we've also allowed 5% for capital growth, being CPI plus 2%, seeing that Plympton is a good growth suburb. That's a conservative amount to work with. And then the last bit, which is the taxable income. Now that can vary from person to person. The last client we did this example for was on $79,000. The average wage we find is around $85,000 at the moment. So I'm going to work on 85 grand. Obviously we've got people who are earning a lot more than that and some that are earning a lot less, but I just wanted to use something that was an average. So when we look at the actual scenario report, the first section will show us the capital growth or the value of the property. So we're purchasing at $480,000 and every year it's growing incrementally by that 5%. So in a 10-year period, we're expecting that property to be worth $780,000. We purchased it for $480,000, so there's $300,000 worth of growth. If you average that out by the 10 years, that's $30,000 in equity or growth that we're getting per year. So I always ask the question, what more would you have to do to make another $30,000 passively that you don't have to work for? You don't have to go out there and put more hours in or basically sell more of your time to get. The second part down is the loan and equity. So as you can see from this example, we're working on the $432,000 loan stays the same all the way through. However, as the value goes up, the LVR starts to reduce, which goes from 90 to 86 to 82 to 78. And what that means is as you get more equity and your debt's still the same, you start freeing up more usable equity. So for example, if we look, say 5 years down the track, we've now got a property that's worth $612,000. You owe $432 still. It's a 71% LVR, which means you've got $180,000 worth of equity in that property. However, the bank still wants to retain the 10% that you've originally put in, or in some cases, you might want to refinance and do it at 80%. And what that means is that now you've got equity that you can pull out of that property and then go use it on another purchase, or put it back into your home loan or whatever it may be, but we've got some usable equity. Now the next part down, which is the rental income, on the $470 per week with the 2 weeks vacancy, that gives us $23,500 per year, which translates to a 4.9% gross yield, and it's a 3.8% net yield after expenses. So 23.5 grand is what income we can expect from this property. The expense part is made up of your interest, which in this case we've allowed 4%, which works out to be $17,280, and our property expenses, which is just over $5,000. So all in all, we've got $22,389 going out, and we've got $23,500 coming back in rent. So what that means is, even before tax, you're positive cash flow by $1,111, which is $21 a week. So again, this property is self-sufficient at this stage, making $21 per week before tax. However, we've got depreciation benefits, and we've also got our upfront costs that we have paid, like your LMI and your loan costs and all that. That's all tax deductible as well. So when we work out the difference, we actually end up with $11,301 worth of deductions that we can take off our taxable income. So if we did this off someone who's earning $85,000 a year, they would receive $3,898 as a tax refund. So the $3,898 plus the $1,111 means this property is now positively cash flowed by $5,009 per year, or $96 a week. And this money here is what's going back into your home loan. Now, if you're paying an extra $5,000 a year into your home loan, which is an extra $100 a week, you're going to reduce the term of your loan and the amount of interest that you pay massively, because this is where the compound effect comes into play in your favor. I mean, even if you were to put in $25 a week, you're going to reduce the loan term by at least 2 to 3 years. If you're doing $100 a week, you're going to reduce the loan term by approximately 5 to 7 years. So this is how you can pay your home off quicker, you can make more cash flow, you can increase your net position and save money on tax all at the same time through a property investment strategy like this one. So look, there's obviously lots of ways that this can work for different people. There's no one size fits all. We don't believe in only one way of doing things. So what we like to do is tailor make a strategy to suit your personal circumstances. If you'd like a consultation or a strategy session, or just discuss, where you're at compared to where you want to be, then we would welcome the opportunity to sit down with you guys and go through that in more detail and unpack it a little bit more. So hope you got some value out of this video. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out, and I look forward to reconnecting with you guys soon. All right, take care and have a great day.